Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of ridiculous minutes of gameplay that happened in Game 3 of the lower final of the most recent RLCS regional for EU. It's played between BDS and Endpoint, and in 4 seconds we already have a goal straight off the kickoff to put BDS 1-0 up. But it doesn't stop there. Let's have another one. Another kickoff goal to the bottom corner, please. Thank you very much. And that one only taking 3 seconds, so it's BDS 2-0. You know what I really like? I like hat tricks of kickoff goals. Let's have another one as extra centers it to Seiko. And okay, that one took 4 seconds again, but 11 seconds total. BDS up by 3. What a game. Now, I want to remind you guys, this is from the lower final. Both these teams have secured top 3 for the EU regional. The final EU regional of the split. The one you'd expect all teams to be prepping the most for, as it's right before the London Major. And clearly to make it top 3 these days in any RLCS event, but especially EU, you got to be on form, you got to be playing well, and both these teams did play exceptionally well to make it this far. But okay, while I've been saying all that, another 2 goals have gone in. It's now 4-1. All these goals have happened immediately after kickoffs. Yeah, let's keep watching and see what happens next to see if it's possible that BDS throw a 4-goal lead that they attain pretty much as early in a game as you can even hope for in a 3v3. Even in 1v1, a 4-goal lead that early would be crazy, but in 3s it's just next level ridiculous. Yeah, it wouldn't have happened without some terrible kickoff strategies being chosen by both teams. Endpoint on the receiving end of most of these goals, but BDS are not innocent at all when it comes to kickoff strats and their selection of them. So after we've finished watching the next minutes of this game, I'm going to take a closer look with you guys. Well, that's a good pass actually, relating with to Metza, but I'm going to take a closer look with you guys at some of these kickoffs and where they all went wrong, mainly for Endpoint, but also for BDS in some lesser examples. And after that, we're going to provide some alternatives. I'm going to break down some, I think, underutilized strategies that pro teams should really start adding to their kickoff repertoire to surprise other teams, to keep them guessing, and most importantly, to stop conceding so many goals in quick succession for absolutely no reason. Speaking of, there's another goal, 3rd for Endpoint, and that didn't take long either. They're within 1 and there's a ton of time left. And they almost get another one right here as extra close cheats underneath the ball, but luckily for them, Monkeyman was able to keep that one at bay. Now, it is worth mentioning, all the kickoff strategies I'm going to talk about later in this video are strategies that you guys can use yourselves in your own ranked games. None of them are all that difficult to do, and you can even use them with randoms now with the addition of voice chat. But, oh wow, there you go, 4-4. I'm going to pause it right there. I think that's a good place to stop this one, because we do have a bit of a calm rest of the game compared to the first 2 minutes, and it doesn't really relate to the topic of this video as much. But if you want to watch the remainder of this game, I'll try not to spoil the result by pressing H and revealing the scoreboard at the bottom, or the timeline. I don't even know what you call it, but yeah, I'll try not to spoil it basically. If you want to watch this, head over to the Rocket League esports channel. This is Game 3 of the lower final, Endpoint, BDS. And you can see who won the ending of the most ridiculous lead, and then the most ridiculous comeback as well that we've seen probably all season. But yeah, remember, never forfeit. 4-0, not a problem, not an issue for Endpoint. Let's rewind, let's watch again. Let's see, where did it all go wrong at the start of this game for Endpoint specifically. But before we look from Endpoint POV, I want to highlight one very important thing, that is on the very first kickoff of the game. If we pause it right as the kickoff is about to take place, you'll notice that both teams are doing the exact same thing. Both teams are close cheating. That means Metzanorse and Monkeymoon are getting very close to the ball before impact even happens. And when you take human reaction time into account, you're at a point where if the ball goes over you or to behind you, you cannot react to it. You will not be quick enough to react to the ball coming at you when you're this close. Unless you just guess or pre-jump or get a glancing blow on it. But more importantly, Relating Wave and Extra are both going for back corner boost grabs, and as you see here, they both turn upfield. They both turn away from their goal, so that briefly leaves both nets completely wide open. And while it is BDS who are able to capitalize on this, because Relating Wave has to lunge back into an awkward position to cover that net that was wide open, and that left him in a position where he couldn't really challenge Monkeymoon all that well. The same thing could quite easily be happening to BDS. This could just as easily have gone the other way, and now it would be extra completely at the mercy of Metsonoris. Now, one final thing to highlight. We'll watch Metsonoris POV here, because this is quite an educational thing that he tries to do, and that is, if you are close cheating and you can't play the ball, which Metsonoris identifies here, he realizes that ball is going past me too quickly, I can't react to that, I can't turn, no point turning and trying to play the ball because Monkey Moon will just beat me to it. But what do? You have to try and bump the player. That's what Metsonoris tries to do, but he doesn't make contact, and that's why Monkey Moon just goes through on goal. But yeah, worth remembering, if you close cheat and you can't play the ball, at least try and bump the player from the other team who is going to play the ball. That is one thing that was done well here. Well, let's go on to the next one, because there are 3 kickoff goals in quick succession here. The first one, very, very simple stuff. Monkey Moon just bundling it over the line. And the second one, we've got everybody spawning in the middle, straight spawn. And interestingly, we've got Archie searing to the right, turning upfield. We've got Seiko searing to the left, turning upfield. That's a little bit of a deviation there from both teams, as they've sent players directly opposite each other instead of mirrored. But yeah, the ball does end up sticking around in the middle, and once again, the fact that Archie has turned upfield means that if the ball rolls right towards Extra, he could just shoot and it's open. Same thing, if the ball had just rolled towards Relating Wave, he could have just shot and it was open. BDS were just as risky with their kickoff strat here as Endpoint were, but their mechanics in terms of like what to do with the ball, where to, how to hit the ball in the kickoff, ended up being better, and that ended up being the difference. So one more, let's take a look at number 3. This is also just a complete kickoff goal. This one, we've got the same strategy for both teams again. Monkey Moon going to the back corner boost, turning upfield. Archie going for the back corner boost, turning upfield, and both teams close cheating again. Now, instead of trying to keep the ball in the middle, you'll notice there is a difference this time. We'll watch it one more time. It's Seiko POV. So instead of trying to neutralize the ball and keep it in the middle, Seiko goes for a big win. So he just tries to win this kickoff by smashing it over the top of Endpoint, either into the side wall or the back wall, as happens here. And Archie, we'll watch his POV so you can see what ends up happening with him. He just ends up underneath the ball because Seiko's won it so hard and he can't get back to the net. Can't get to the ball to intercept it on the wall, can't get back to the net to stop the inevitable kickoff goal. So 3 kind of different kickoff goals. One of them, a kickoff possession for Monkey Moon that proved to be too awkward for Metsa to react with because he cheated too close, and Relating Wave turned up the line, so he didn't have a good angle to defend with either. But yeah, in all 3 of these examples, BDS did the exact same thing. It is worth quickly mentioning before we move on here, the 4th goal of this game was not in fact a kickoff goal. This one was a play that both teams could react to. It just ended up being Metsonoris losing possession and Relating Wave not having a lot of boost and failing to read Seiko's backboard touch here. So this one actually wasn't a kickoff goal, but probably the more interesting thing to note, or my most I guess thing I'm most impressed by is that Seiko turns towards the goal. Look at that! Can you believe it? I know I couldn't when I was watching this game. We've got double diagonal spawn. Extra and Relating Wave go for the ball. Metsonoris flips towards the back corner boost, so does Seiko. But look at this, Seiko turns back towards the net. So if the ball stays in the middle and there's an immediate shot, he can save it. Metsonoris, can he save a shot if the ball stays middle or bounces off the wall quickly and comes back into the middle? No, because he turned up the line. So this is the first kickoff of the game where BDS actually didn't make the risky strategic choice. But Metsonoris even turning there, just a half flip towards the wall, which, funnily enough, was the position where Relating Wave hit the ball towards. We have to give credit to Endpoint where it's due. Metsonoris turning up the line is not always bad if Relating Wave is in fact trying to hit the ball over there. If Relating Wave is trying to neutralize the ball or win it to the left, then Metsonoris turning up the line would be completely pointless. But Relating Wave actually did hit it over there, so maybe it isn't Metsonoris who's at fault here. In this case, it would be Archie who's at fault, because if his teammate calls that he's hitting it to the right and Archie's close cheating, well, why are you doing that? You've just left the back left completely open. But I've not heard the Endpoint comms, so it could just as easily be Metsonoris taking an unnecessary risk here and just ending up in a good position because of a random outcome. I don't know if they com this. I don't know what they com for any of these kickoffs. All I do know is that these kickoff strategies are extremely risky. But anyway, that's a breakdown of why these kickoff goals occurred. You're combining close cheats with risky boost grabs in back corners. Let's, very quickly explain for the benefit of anyone who's kind of new to the kickoff concepts, and let's remind ourselves who are familiar with kickoff strategies, what exactly are pro teams trying to do when it comes to kickoffs? Because it's really quite straightforward. You've got 2 players going to the ball, and generally you'll have 2 players cheating. That's what happened here. And then you've got 2 players going to a back corner boost, usually the one behind the player who spawns for the kickoff, but sometimes you'll see teams go for the other boost as well, just to switch things up. Space Station Gaming in North America love doing this, and they actually do it to great effect because they combine a back corner boost grab with a much safer, not as close cheat, which I'm a big fan of. I like that strategy. Now, the safe way to do either of these kickoffs is you could either combine a slower cheat, a more conservative cheat forward, with a risky boost grab where you're turning upfield, or you can combine a safe boost grab where you're turning back to net with a close cheat. Usually your player closest to the boost would go, not the player closest to the cheat. This player can just speed flip forward, and he can get there almost as quickly. There's actually an additional boost actually to grab for the player who spawns at the back that this player here would not have access to. So that's what teams are trying to do generally on standard kickoffs. Now there are also 3 things to remember with regards to the ball. Teams will usually have one of 3 things planned on a normal kickoff. Either they will try to hit the ball hard enough that it bounces into the other team's half violently, or as we saw, bouncing into the back corner violently. That's what happened for the 3rd goal BDS scored in this game. That's called winning the kickoff. You're either trying to win the kickoff big, or you might try and get a glancing blow on the ball in the kickoff where you kind of hit it on the side and it rolls behind you into the back corner for your player who went for boost to be in position to get. So that would be losing the kickoff on purpose. Or the 3rd and very, very common one these days, where you just try and reach the ball goal side and neutralize it. So you try and keep it in the middle, and that works very well with a close cheat. If you can keep the ball dead center and your teammate is close cheating, then he's going to be next up on the play very quickly. Now, this is the problem I have with most pro teams' kickoff strats. It looks like they're trying to do both at the same time. It looks like they're setting up with a close cheat, which only makes sense if the ball stays in the middle, and a risky boost grab in the corner, which only makes sense if you lose the kickoff. Now, you can't do both. The guy who's going for the ball in kickoff, in this case Archie, he can't simultaneously lose the kickoff and neutralize it to keep it in the middle. You can't do that. You can only try and do one of those 2 things. If Archie's trying to neutralize the ball, what you would do is he would see where is Seiko coming from, try and go completely opposite him and get a blocking touch. Just get in the way, keep the ball middle. If he's trying to get it to the back corner, you would see where's Seiko coming from. Okay, let me go around him, deliberately get a glancing blow so that Seiko hits the ball to my teammate. You can't set up for both of those strats at the same time. And I have heard the argument that, well, pro teams want all of their kickoffs to look the same so that it's hard for the other team to know what they're doing. And while there is some truth to that, you don't need to do exactly the same thing in order for it to look the same. You can make little changes that completely change what you're doing on a kickoff, or completely change the outcome of a kickoff without doing literally the same thing. Because from where the other team are, in this case BDS looking across the field at Endpoint, it's too hard to see micro adjustments. You can't tell if a player is here or here sometimes. If the ball is blocking your vision, you can't really see, when a player flips towards the boost, is he turning back towards the net? Is he turning up the line? You don't know that until the last second usually, and by then you've already committed to what you're going to do, so it's too late. We see this all the time in ones. Players make little adjustments to throw off their opponent. So that's what pro teams are usually trying to do, and that's why I don't think it's smart to do that. I think you've got to pick one. You're either going for a back corner kickoff or a close cheat kickoff. You can't do both. And trying to do both just leaves your net open, and you're going to concede kickoff goals like Endpoint did here. So what are some other options? Let's talk about other options. What could teams be doing instead? Now, I mentioned one of them already. So the standard kickoff that most teams are doing is close cheat and back corner, or not this one, back corner boost grab and then driving up the line behind your player who spawned for the kickoff. So extra here, going behind Seiko. Now, there is a reason for that. It's because Seiko is generally going to land over this direction after the kickoff, and you want this back corner boost to be up for him to grab after he does do the kickoff and needs to go get boosts. But Space Station have really, I think, mastered the alternative kickoff strategy, which is going for the boost on this side of the field. And instead of doing a close cheat, they tend to cheat a lot further back. So they're making a risky move into this side of the field with one of their players, but the other player plays a bit more conservatively, and that covers everything. If the ball goes back corner or straight down the middle, they've got a player ready to react to that. That player is not all the way over here, completely out of the game should the ball end up behind him. He's ready to react, and then of course the player who grabs boost in the back corner, should the defense need to be the priority, can just turn back, because the player who's close cheating can buy him some time to get back, time that wouldn't be available if this player's out of the game and the net's just open. So this is a good strategy. I like it. It's a nice adaptation. It's the most simple adaptation. Instead of going for boost on this side and trying to force the ball that way, go for boost on the other side and try and force it towards this corner. So your kickoff man just has to try and get the ball to deflect out towards this angle. Just be careful not to get dunked on too hard by hitting the ball completely on the side, as that can often just pinch it into your net. So you do have to get a bit of a goal side position on it in order to be safe. Now, the very famous, I think, kickoff variation that a lot of teams have put to good use in the past is the fake kickoff. And we saw an opportunity for this in the game that we just witnessed. I'm sure this one is a very familiar one for all of you guys. That's instead of hitting the ball on the kickoff, you drive straight past it. Well, not you want to turn late. You don't want to turn that early. You want to get nice and close and then turn away and go for a mid-boost grab instead. And of course, the idea there is that hopefully the other team don't predict this and they hit the ball to your goalkeeper. These days, teams will predict the fake kickoff if you just do the old-fashioned way by leaving a player in goal. If you have one player do this, then you have another player cheating and getting ready to go the other way. If the third player is just sitting in net, the other team is probably going to see this coming. They're probably going to see the fake kickoff coming. Also, if you do an exceptionally slow cheat with one of your players where he barely moves, that's going to be another big giveaway that the fake kickoff is coming. So what teams have tended to do now to try and bait the fake kickoff without making it too obvious is initially making it look like you're going for a boost with this guy and then turning around. But you do have to really perfect when you turn around. If you turn around too soon, then that will show the player who's going for the kickoff in the other team that the fake kickoff is coming, and he'll just hit the brakes, stop, and have a possession for free. If that does happen, because it probably will happen at some point if you try fake kickoffs in your own games, the player who initially faked the kickoff will have a ton of momentum. It's his job then, if this player who went for the ball on the other team actually just stops here and gets ready for a dribble, it's the job of the player who went for the kickoff to then turn around and immediately challenge. Use that momentum that they built up on the approach to immediately challenge. You can also get this guy who's cheating to challenge. It depends who reacts the quicker of the two. Does the ball end up past your cheating player? Does he go too far forward and now the ball's past him and there's a dribble? Well, in that case, the guy who went from the initial fake, you got to turn back and ball chase. You can't just leave your solo player at the back at the mercy of a dribbler, or you might have what happened at the start of this game occur, where you just have a 1v1. Monkeyman 1v1 relating wave to open this game. That's how this goal happened. You got to rush back and help him out with a challenge from behind. You guys mostly know about the kickoff strat, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. Just remember to not be too obvious when you set it up. I'm surprised pro teams don't do it more often, because it is still pretty safe. Even if the other team do see it coming and they don't give you the ball, you can still turn around with your fake kickoff player and challenge. So it's a big win potentially, and I don't think there's much risk if you do it properly. You just have to make sure that this guy turns back fast enough to cover a direct shot, if that's the counter strategy that the other team go for. If they just shoot the ball top corner, you need to be able to turn around and save that, but you also need to not turn around too soon as to make it obvious that the kickoff strat the fake kickoff is coming. So just practice that. Get into a private lobby with your mates, tell them, okay, just shoot the ball at the top corner here. I'm going to see how far can I go before I need to turn and comfortably get back and save this. That's pretty much all you've got to know. And yeah, make sure that you get your two players to spread out after the kickoff so that you've got options where to pass should the play work and the ball just comes straight back towards you. And yeah, don't commit, don't just blindly go and get the boost and not pay attention to what the other team are doing, because if they've actually read the kickoff and start to dribble your teammate, you need to turn a lot sooner than this. You can't go all the way over here and then turn. You got to turn as soon as you see that they're actually dribbling and not giving the ball away. Yeah, then you've got to like think, okay, I'm turning back to challenge, or alternatively, this player, if he's still in a good position to challenge, he could call it. You've just got to make the call. Who's got the challenge? Yell it in comms and take it from there. But let's move on to some more or less conventional kickoff strategies. We talked about the most obvious adaptation, that's losing the kickoff to the back corner. On the non-conventional side, fake kickoff, I'm sure you guys are all pretty familiar with. But I think if we go to the next kickoff in this game, this is a pretty good setup for another, more common now than ever kickoff strat, and that's the demo kickoff. This is another one a lot of you guys will be familiar with. So instead of both players for both teams going to the ball, you'd usually have both teams cheating as well, like this. Now instead of doing this, what you do is you just drive past the ball at the last second and you try and get a demo on the other team's cheating player. And then if the other team just hit the ball straight towards your cheating player, he can immediately shoot, or just try and dribble or try and pass. There's numerous options, because after this player here drives past the ball, demos the cheating player on the other team, he can continue driving into a position to receive a pass up here, or he can continue chasing and look for a hunt onto this player who's gone to the back corner over here. You can just keep going. You can demo one and then try and bump the third, leaving the net open for a shot by your team who are defending. So that's one that we're seeing a lot more in RLCS these days. It's one that pro teams are aware of. A similar kind of idea, if you are going to do this, don't make it too obvious by just barely moving at all, because if you just don't cheat far forward at all, the other team's probably going to know that you're doing something like this. Likewise, if you just leave a player in net, other teams are probably going to read you doing this. So if you're playing ranked and you're trying to use these strats, the fake and the demo kickoff strats, you don't really need to worry too much about what you're doing with your players at the back, because average players in ranked aren't paying attention to that. But if you're very high rated, of course, you do need to worry about that. Players will pay attention to where the other players are, as well as what's happening on the kickoff, and they might read what you're doing. They might read the fake or the demo if you don't move with these players enough. So same thing as the fake kickoff. Make sure that you do a little loop to kind of throw the other team off guard. Make sure that you just do something other than sitting in net. And this player, you've got to just do a kind of like a medium cheat so that you can react to the ball being fired at you. At least initially make a move initially as if you're cheating normally, and then a bit, maybe around about here, that's where you just hit the brakes and stop. Instead of continuing that momentum forward to a close cheat position, you just start off as if you're close cheating and then you stop. You just stop here, because the player on the kickoff for the other team will probably see you flip forward as if you're close cheating, and by the time that they realize that you're actually going to stop here, they've already committed to what they're going to do, and it's very difficult in that final 2 or 3 split seconds to react to this player just slowing down and getting ready for you to hit the ball straight to them. So yeah, at least initially move as if it's a normal kickoff. After that, you can stop in position and get ready for the demo kickoff strats come through. But yeah, these are 2 kickoff strats that pro teams do know about. I still think that they are underutilized. I think they could be used a lot more than they are, in my opinion. Now, 2 kickoff strats that I'm going to finish off this video with. First of all, the half flip. It's not even a fake kickoff. It's like the half flip ignore the ball on kickoff, which we've seen a lot in 1v1. If we just pretend that these players aren't here right now, pretend that this is a 1v1, we'll just ignore these players. They don't exist. Sorry, Archie, Relating Wave, Monkey Man Extra, you guys are great. Now, in 1v1 these days, a kickoff strat that is becoming very popular is, instead of going for the ball, you just half flip onto the boost and you turn back to net immediately. You need to do it cleanly, you need to do it quickly, but if you do this well enough, if your half flip is clean enough that you pick up the boost, you need to actually pick up specifically this corner of the boost. You can't pick up the boost on the far side, that's too far. You're not going to get back to your net in time. But if you can half flip cleanly, so that well, first of all, you need to half flip the correct direction. You can't do the half flip where you're turning slightly this way and then turn back. You need to do the half flip where you're turning in immediately, clip the boost on the inside edge, and then just keep up all that momentum on the turn and head back to your net immediately. If you do that correctly, then no shot is going to beat you. If you have a perfect half flip, perfect route back to net, no direct shot can get in. Maybe an absolutely pixel perfect boomer to the top corner will go past you, but even professional player shots are not going past 1v1 pros who have got this half flip down to a T. Now, you can actually use this strategy in threes as well. In fact, I think it's more viable. The reason this strategy is good is because it takes away a lot of the volatility that kickoffs inherently have. You're not 50-50ing the ball, you're just letting the other team have a clean hit. It's a lot easier to read a clean hit than it is to read a 50-50. So whether if they try and dribble you in ones, you just charge them, or fake a challenge in shadow. If they hit the ball to you, you try and control it, save the ball obviously, and then just control it and take the boost, and you've got a possession for free. So let's think about what happens in 3v3. If, let's say BDS go for a normal kickoff, where you've got the usual setup, everybody's doing the standard approach. Now, I don't think this is good to close cheat and grab the back corner boost and turn up the line like I've said many times, but let's assume that that's what they're doing. Or let's give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they're not going to do the bad close cheat like this. They're going to do a more conservative cheat and turn up the line. This is very standard. A lot of teams do this. They don't take the risk that we saw BDS and Endpoint take in these games. Now, if Metsonoris just ignores the ball, first of all, you need to be able to half flip both ways. If you're not comfortable half flipping left and right, slightly to the left, slightly to the right, they're both slightly different. One of them will half flip this way, one of them will half flip this way. Then learn that. It's not hard. I can do it. I'm a caster. I'm a zero mechanics caster, and I can do it. If I can do it, pros should be able to do it. Now, Metsonoris just half flips onto the boost, turns back to net. Relating Wave does a close cheat, and this is important. And then Archie can actually just go for this boost and turn up the line. This is a really cool setup. It's a very cool kickoff that I'd recommend you guys trying in your own games. And I'd absolutely recommend pro teams do this as well. Because the option Seiko has, if he realizes that Endpoint are doing this kickoff where they're ignoring the ball with their player closest to it and actually going for it with the player here, you can either close cheat or you can actually just go for the ball in a normal kickoff like you would in a normal kickoff, assuming that you spawn here. Because sometimes the player spawns here is closest, so you can actually just go for the ball in a kickoff manner. You're going to arrive a little bit later, but you can go if you want to, just to throw the other team off even more. Now, the option Seiko's got is either he hits the ball this way, past Relating Wave, to make sure that he doesn't get dunked on, in which case Metsonoris will have the ball for free. He can try to control it. He can try to dribble, which is why Relating Wave is charging forward to tackle if the dribble is attempted. Or Seiko could realize that the fake is, or you could realize what is actually happening here, and maybe he'll drive past the ball as well. Last second, he'll think, wait, they're not going. I'm going to leave it, because then Extra can come in and take it. And that's why you want to close cheat with your middleman here, because if Seiko leaves it, then you've just got a free touch. You've got a free ball. The difference in this case being that, well, not only have you got a free ball, but also both your teammates behind you have boost, so they're ready to come in and support an attack. Unlike the standard thing that happens when you get a free touch and a kickoff, which is your teammates don't have boost. One of them is cheating with no boost. Everybody here would have momentum and boost. Relating Wave, everybody supporting Relating Wave would have momentum and boost, as opposed to if Seiko gets a free touch, Extra doesn't. He's got momentum, but he doesn't have 100 boost. So it's an advantage to the blue team if Seiko leaves the ball. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting kickoff strat. I'd love to see pro teams do this. It doesn't always get big wins, but it rarely, if ever, gets big losses. And if anything else, it just throws off the other team. It surprises them. It gets them out of their comfort zone. It gets them out of what they're used to. Because pro teams and pro players have faced standard kickoffs thousands upon thousands of times, but they haven't faced this, just leave the ball kickoff many times. This is, I think, one of the reasons it works so well in 1v1. it catches players off guard. They see it and they think, wait, what am I supposed to do against that? And in threes, I think it's even better because you've got another player who can flip forward into an aggressive position and punish any bad touch from Seiko or dunk on any bad touch from Seiko. Or alternatively, just try and, if Seiko doesn't really do anything threatening with the ball, Relating Wave can just use the momentum he's got and the boost advantage he's got in Seiko to steal whatever boost Seiko tries to go to. And then Metsonoris and Archie just have a free ball. Think about it. If Seiko just hits the ball this way and then he tries to move into position to grab this boost, Relating Wave can just beat him to it. He can just think, okay, you're trying to flip towards that boost. Well, I'm already supersonic. I'm just going to go take it from you. Now Seiko's boost starved somewhere around about here, and the ball's in the back corner here for Metsonoris to get a free touch. Archie's coming in. He's got 100 boosts as well. You've got 100 boosts in all your players. Seiko's boost starved. Monkey Moon's over here. He's trying to get back into the play. Extra has to go to back corner to grab boost. It's just a great position. Seiko's going to remain boost starved here. I think that this can often lead to great advantages for the blue team. Can completely throw off orange team. And it's just, why not? Why not mix it up? I don't see why not. I'd love to see this experimented by pro teams because I've done it many times in my own low-rated ranked games, and teams get completely thrown off by this. And it seems to always work. They always give you the ball, and even if they don't, so what? You've got a great position anyway. And pros are so mechanical that I think they're going to be even more comfortable doing this than me and my teammates ever are. Let's do one more though. It's I think the most interesting one. I've talked about this in my stream a few times, but this one is only applicable to the double diagonal spawn. Now, double diagonal spawn, you can do demo kickoffs as well, but a really cool kickoff strat that I was doing with some of my friends and I think is absolutely viable at any level of play, including pro play, is an extension of what we just talked about, and that is the double half flip kickoff, where you've got the player in the middle, farthest from the ball, either going towards the ball. He's got options. You can either close cheat or you can just speed flip towards the ball to put immediate pressure on it. Now, it doesn't matter who BDS send to the ball in a regular way. This is what they would tend to do. This is what most teams do. Let's just line up BDS like a normal kickoff. Cheat, ball hit, boost grab, turning up the line, which is, as long as the cheat isn't too close, is fine. But if you just double half flip, you can actually go up the line with one of your players, or you can turn in field with both. It's just up to you, really. You can have just one player as a priority defender in this instance, where if Metsonoris is good enough at half flipping, if he has a very clean half flip to this side, he can save a top corner shot at the far side of the goal. Likewise, if Relating Wave has a very clean and reliable half flip, he can save anything at this corner. But if your players aren't comfortable half flipping and being able to save a far post shot, you could just both turn back towards the net, and that would be fine. But usually the player that you'd want to not do that, like if you're reading that Seiko's going to go for the ball here, and the extra is going to be the player turning, then you want your player who's opposite Seiko to be the guy turning up the line. And the reason for that is that if Seiko tries to hit the ball past the incoming player in the middle, he'll probably hit it over here, in which case you want this guy to be ready to counter the forward run of extra by advancing. You can often just get the ball for free, but you've got to at least have one player half flipping and turning back towards the net. If you're not comfortable, or if you don't have a read on who's going for the kickoff, you can just have two, and it's fine, because then one of you can challenge. There is backup with 100 boosts behind you, even if the other team get the ball, which they will sometimes get. But yeah, I think pro teams are going to have a read on who's going for the kickoff a lot of the time. They're going to know which player on the other team, the other squad prefers to send. And like I said, if they think it's going to be Seiko here, then you half flip up the line with your player opposite Seiko so that he can counter the half flip onto the boost that the other team will be making. If you think it's going to be extra who's going to the ball, then same thing. If you think it's this guy, then you want to half flip and turn up the line with this guy, half flip and go back to the boost of this guy, and go straight down the middle with this guy to pressure the ball. That stops extra from thinking about dribbling. And if he decides to shoot direct, you can actually just leave the ball as this player. Don't panic if you're in a close cheat position and extra decides to shoot the ball at your net. You just have to trust your teammate to be good enough at half flipping and cover the net, because it is something that pro players should be able to do. This would be the setup for BDS here, generally. But I think Seiko's usually the preferred player. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think BDS likes sending him. And that's what I think Endpoint would do to try and counter that. But yeah, that's about all of that's about all I wanted to talk about today. These are like the most diverse kickoff strategies that I think are viable right now. There are micro variations to every single kickoff I've talked about. Timing of approach, what kind of flip you use to block the ball in the middle, what kind of flip you use to deflect the ball to a back corner while keeping momentum so you can drive onto a big boost after making the kickoff. These micro things I didn't really think would be worth talking about today, because I think the general ideas and macro strategies are what I wanted to make this video about. But yeah, if in the future we begin to see these kickoff strategies and even other ones, other variations and extensions of this be applied in pro play, then I would love to have a follow-up to this where we really get into the nitty-gritty and we get into the specifics of mechanically, okay, what are players doing here? But conceptually, I think that most, not all, there are some teams who are actually pretty smart with their kickoff strats and do think about it, but most pro teams, in my opinion, are terrible at kickoffs and they don't put enough thought into them. Me as a 1v1 caster, I've seen how effective it can be to just come into a match with 3 or 4 plans on kickoffs that you want to do. 3 or 4 reliable plans. I think, funnily enough, the leave the ball on kickoff strat could be one of the more reliable ones that you just do, and it doesn't matter if the other team read you. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter if they predict it. It doesn't matter if they react well to it. You're still in a safe position anyway. Obviously, fake kickoffs, demo kickoffs, the other team reacts to it quick. It can backfire, but these are tricky strats that you just throw in there once or twice in a series. But leaving the ball completely and half flipping to back boosts, I would love to see that explored more by pro teams. I think it's extremely viable, and I think it will be a big part of kickoff strategy in the future for threes. It's the only set piece in Rocket League. I'm excited to see what can pro teams do with these strats, as well as changing which way they flip into the ball to send it in different sides of the field, aggressively, defensively. There's so many simple variations. Just thinking about back corner kickoffs, neutralize kickoffs, winning kickoffs, leaving the ball in kickoff. You've already got 8 different variations there, instead of just doing the same kickoff over and over again, like we sometimes see teams do, even at the highest level. But yeah, hopefully this has been helpful to you guys as well. I think they're all going to, if nothing else, it's a ton of fun to mix it up in ranked. Teams get really annoyed if you like annoying other teams that you play against by doing weird kickoffs. You're going to love doing these. I've had a ton of fun annoying my opponents with leaving the ball to half flip onto corner boost on kickoff. People get very upset when you do that because it's not normal, and they want their opponents to play normally so they can be in their comfort zone. I say forget that. Get your opponents out of their comfort zone. Annoy them with your weird kickoff strats that work almost every time. I'm not even joking. Do these weird half flip onto the boost instead of going for the ball kickoffs. You'll be amazed at how many times you just get the ball for free because the other team gives it to you. And also get grinding those half flip mechanics. If you can't half flip from both sides and land on the boost and go back to your net or upfield, depending which is preferable, you got to know. Got to get grinding your half flips. You got to be able to half flip both ways. Something else I see pro players still not able to do. But that's enough. We really went long with this video. I think we're going to cut it there. If you get any questions about these strategies or the ideas that we're talking about today, let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this, also let me know. Yeah, hopefully pros will start actually practicing kickoffs so we can stop seeing games like this where it ends up being 3-0 in 11 seconds with 3 completely preventable kickoffs, or 3 completely preventable goals if the kickoffs weren't absolutely room temperature IQ brain dead. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll see you soon for more show matches on the channel. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.